For me, I am from Kansas City, Kansas.
Mm.
So my parents are originally from Mexico, and they migrated when they were pretty much my age. They came to Kansas. I can't explain why, but they came to Kansas. They settled down. They had a family, and then from there, I mean, it just became my home. I knew everyone around me. I knew all the places, in and outs, all of that.
Mm.
Um, So when I was coming to college, I firmly expected kind of that culture shock. Like, I don't know where I am, I don't know what I'm doing, but it'll all work out in the end. And I can say that it certainly has. Just developing my network, finding my roots, finding the groove, all of that. 100% college was always on the radar. Just because I think at a young age, my parents instilled in me like the value of higher education, being that they didn't have that opportunity, that they had to navigate different routes to be able to find their way in the world. They always instilled like the value of being able to study and then just go on learning from there, learning lots of new skills just to be able to support yourself without having to go through such extraneous efforts that they had to go through. So for me, I never doubted college as my future. It was always on the radar, being that it was, like it's always nationally acclaimed, especially within the STEM field. But I think for me, it was solidified when I came for home, which was the Hopkins overnight multicultural event, which was available for me my senior year. So I was able to actually come on campus in a physical sense, be able to interact with students while they were just being students organically. So for me, one thing that I loved was just having the sense of community, knowing that while I was away from home, I would still be able to make my own home here on campus,
Yeah.
along with the fact that the way that Hopkins structures our academics makes it so I can like explore my own interests and develop those interests while being able to still strengthen my academics like directly towards my major. So an example of that would be like I'm STEM major, but my favorite thing about Hopkins is that I'm forced to go outside of my major, specifically with physics or with Spanish and all my humanities. Going into my senior year, I expected college, my first year of college, to be in person, and I just thought that was kind of daunting. So, if I'm being honest, being able to start college in an online format where it was more of adapting academically instead of socially, where I was still in my comfort zone around my like people who help facilitate my mental health, I think that was for me the best part of my first year because I could focus on my academics when necessary, but then like ease it back and just rely on my family to support me when I felt like I couldn't support myself. Being that my first year was on campus, like I mentioned, I was able to establish like a social network online. And the best thing about being on campus is that those online social networks translated essentially seamlessly in person. So while moving was daunting in the sense that I was kind of out of my comfort zone, it was really good for me to rely on those people that I'd already made contact with just to know that I wasn't alone. One thing I would do differently would be to just reach out more to people. Like as an incoming freshman, I really didn't realize that I have so much to learn and explore from all these people at Hopkins, being that it was my first year. So literally just reach out to any of the students for anything, especially upperclassmen, because they will like provide you a social network that will just keep expanding, especially when it comes to experiences that they have to offer, any guidance, all of that. I wish I would have tapped more into the actual Hopkins network while online, because I feel like that would have better transitioned into like the physical setting. Going to college, especially going away from home, I have no one who's gone through it before, so it's completely a new field of exploration for me. I mean, I can only have the emotional support of my parents, but other than that, anything else, it's completely on my own. So it's completely been thanks to the support that I've gotten here at Hopkins from not only like the FLI initiative, but also all of the mentors and friends that I've made, just guiding me, taking me under their wing, and being willing to just help me out through the process while I'm trying to figure it out myself. Having come into my second year at Hopkins, I think that it was thanks to COVID that I was able to explore like my connection with balance in a more deeper sense. So where I'd previously just been like go, 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 because that's all I could do. When you're in a pandemic, you don't really have time to just go. You have to wait and readjust, reevaluate what's happening. So while I've been here on campus, I've really tried to manage my security, because for me that feels like wellness to me. I have to be secure in how I'm feeling, how I'm performing, and then just I know a big worry for my parents was also being financially well, like having that financial security. So thankfully, a lot of the programs that I'm in through Hopkins help me navigate those avenues. And one thing I do have to mention is that outside of academics, I have to find outlets just to let out my stress. And for me, that's manifested itself in music. So if ever I'm feeling like overwhelmed and stressed, I will go play my violin, because I have it here with me on campus. And I'm absolutely looking forward to being involved in the Hopkins Orchestra, which does start this weekend. So I'm sure I'm going to absolutely enjoy that. I will say, while here at Hopkins, I know that for me, a big part of my identity is my like Latin culture. So I for sure made a tap into that, be it through like my social groups, like Olay, but especially through my volunteering, because for me, I know that in my life, I've experienced firsthand what the medical field, like how minorities are treated within the medical field. So I know that as an advantaged person, being that I'm bilingual and have also taken some classes on interpreting, I for sure made it an objective for me to try and decrease those barriers, try to help provide more equitable healthcare for those Spanish-speaking populations in the Baltimore community. So that's one way that for me, I've still tried to be involved within my identity as a Hispanic Latin person. Thinking about what my parents have instilled in me, it's like, no matter where you come from, the sky's the limit. Like, it really does not matter where you're coming from, what your circumstances are, what you're doing. You really should never limit your expectations, your aspirations, because anything is achievable if you put your mind to it. Like, it sounds cliche, but it really is truthful. Like, clearly I'm here, even though I come from essentially nothing. So you just have to put your mind to it and do what you can, when you can, while you can.